I was born in Buena Vista, Colorado. My father had a position with the Bureau of Reclamation, later with the National Park Service. As kids, we did a lot. There was many hikes, like with my mother up at Avalanche Lake when we were younger. When I turned 16, I started to work on trails in Glacier Park and got to go be out all week with horses and reconstructing trails and opening trails for the summer season. Became at 19 a trail foreman. The Glacier Park maintained about 1,000 miles of trails. I believe today it's down around 700. And I believe I have been on almost all those trails. Through my years living in Glacier, I climbed 28 peaks, or at least somebody figured that out one day. But I went on to college at Montana State University. Elaine and I got married. Both of us were going to Montana State University. We had a wonderful time, doing the little things that you do in college and this stuff. And then I wanted to be a naturalist, so I worked as a seasonal naturalist starting in 1960. We're heading to Glacier this spring, and my assignment is a whole new idea of putting a naturalist, as we call interpreters today, up at Bowman Lake in this trailer that does not have electricity, but had probably the most beautiful view. We were right on the lake shore. So each day I'd do something with visitors that were in the campground at Bowman and Kentla Lake and other places, and take hikes and do exciting things. So now it's in August, I think it's August 10th, and Elaine wakes me up at night and tells me that we need to head towards the hospital in Kalispell, and you got to realize that's 65 miles away. So Chrissy was born in Kalispell, and my wife, Elaine, they went back and stayed with my parents at Park Headquarters. I went back up there. And the next summer, we had moved the trailer down to Polebridge, and we had electricity, but it was off of a generator. And the other thing is that when I'm away from the station, sometimes your spouse or somebody wanted a permit and stuff, so they're actually writing the permit, and you're out in the back country. While I was a seasonal, a number of us the USGS would come and measure Grinnell Glacier and Sperry Glacier each year, and 2 or 3 of us would help them do it. So I had some experience with glaciation. I went to work for USGS, and primarily what I would do is measure glaciers in Alaska, but also at Mount Rainier and Nisqually Glacier. So I accepted a position with the State of Washington Highway Commission at Olympia, Washington, and I was the lead cartographer in building Interstate 5 and Interstate 90 and that kind of thing. I did that for 1 year, and the Park Service offers me a wonderful job at Acadia National Park in Maine. So Elaine and I gathered up our 2 little girls, and we drove across mostly Canada. We got to Maine, and I was there 2 years. It was a wonderful position. And then I took a planning position in Philadelphia, our regional office. So the Great Lakes study, and though I don't deserve it, but I take a lot of credit in setting up the planning for the Apostle Islands in Wisconsin, but also for Picture Rocks on Lake Superior, and Sleeping Bear and Indiana Dunes. And they wanted to know if I'd go up as deputy director, dealing with the Statue of Liberty, Ellis Island, Castle Clinton, Grand Stoom, Federal Hall, whole assortments. So I went up there and I accepted a position at Harper's Ferry, again as a deputy director, and oversaw a number of Job Corps centers for the National Park Service. And then off to Mammoth Cave, I went there as the director of the Job Corps Center there. I was only there 2 years, and I moved on to the regional office over youth programs, Job Corps, and a whole bunch of other things. While I was there, I was acting superintendent at the Virgin Islands and Cumberland, Seashore. And all at once I'm at the Blue Ridge Parkway. That's still maybe my favorite area in management. The Blue Ridge Parkway is the oral history that runs up and down the backbone of Appalachia. The Scottish, primarily Scottish, it's just wonderful. I was involved with that. I left that and I went back to Harper's Ferry as director. So a number of years I was regional director for these programs out of Philadelphia, and also that covered 5 states and Washington, D.C., and I worked a lot with the governors like J. Rockefeller of West Virginia. And then I had a call from James Watt, who was the Secretary of Interior under the Reagan administration, and they had a special liaison. I did some other interesting things for the Fish and Wildlife Service and the Department of Interior for that in the Reagan administration. And I finally said I'd like to go back to the Park Service. So I came back to the Park Service, and my big job was moving 1,200 people out of the Washington office and regional offices to the field. So I had the opportunity to go to Grand Teton the last 10 years of my career, and I just loved the management and got to do a lot of interesting things, and retired with 35 years of service, I believe. So I've had a wonderful career, and it led to many other different aspects. When somebody asked me where you're from, my mind goes to Glacier Park. No, I did not. I was not a manager there, and I was not permanent. But all that seasonal experience is the love affair that I have with the National Park Service.